119 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wheatro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen.
Matt Killam.
No Gretchen DeBacker today.
Gretchen today.
She is
out.
Yeah. What are you going to make up for
her? Just out, and the show is a lesser for it. So carrying on in her stead, she has left some of her jewelry, so I'll be wearing it in memoriam.
The sheer volume of stuff.
She is filling the space here. I don't know if this gets picked up on camera or not, but we've got a small area in our microphones that's not supposed to be for this purpose, but she's got some Post-it notes for which she's never used, some lip balm or gloss.
Yep.
Balm or gloss.
I don't know the difference.
Yeah, they're both delicious. And she's filled it, there's a little crevice here with all of it.
It is, I had this conversation with my kids on a regular basis, and I think about this in my own organizational system.
Sure.
Of like, do I need regular access to this?
Yeah.
Right? And so you think about are these things that she needs in the building?
And they're minutes notice. Yeah, seconds
in the building, yes.
Yeah.
Right? In the studio, maybe. At arm's length at all times, you cannot convince me.
Yeah.
Because nobody watching this show for the last 6 months has ever seen her apply one of these.
That's right.
On air.
Right. And I've never received a Ronald McDonald House Post-it note from her. But maybe we're all going to get those.
Well.
But the show is a lesser without her. We will try to carry on. We have both made comment, I think, on air that the show is at its best when Gretchen is the most dialed in, which she is more often than not. So hope you're feeling better, buddy. We will see you in relative short order.
And not ironic that it's a Wellness Wednesday when we lose Gretchen.
She is unwell.
She is down for the count. But we got 3 shows left in season 1. Take a break, come back for season 2. We've got a great show. Our friend Megan Casiere from Workspring is going to be here with us. We're going to talk about all things wellness, and we'll talk about we'll talk about Wellness Wednesday itself as well. And I'm interested in, Megan is, I still consider new with Workspring in relation to the history of the company, but still putting her thumbprint on the organization and still really getting a vision for what the future of Workspring looks like, I think is a good idea as well. I have a question for you, Matt.
Okay.
So this is a ongoing point of frustration for me, and I don't think I'm the only one that experiences this.
You should have it removed.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I paid a copay to go see a doctor for that.
No problem.
No. So where we live, the trash has always been picked up on the same day.
Yep.
Because we moved from an apartment to a house to another house.
Yep.
All in the same trash pickup zone.
Okay.
So it has always been trash gets picked up on Friday morning.
Okay.
And inevitably, we fill the trash can on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Because that's when we finally have time to do the deep clean of the garage or whatever project is happening that happens. And so I'm curious, what is the best, in your opinion, what would be the best day for trash pickup?
Monday.
Yeah.
Monday's the best day, although I will tell you what you just described, but it happens to everyone. It is a sad state of affairs when you're having this conversation, but people do have it. It's also, I feel badly when I'm placing my garbage in other people's trash cans in the morning, like screwing around. I don't know why that would matter, right? But it is odd to be dumping your garbage in someone else's.
But we all have that neighbor that is going to complain that you put your bag of trash in my trash can and somehow soiled the container that is designed to be soiled.
If you looked out your window and saw somebody putting garbage in your trash can, would it annoy you?
If I knew them, not at all.
Yeah, okay.
If it was like a car that drove by and did it, I think I'd be annoyed.
But the principle's still the same. So having it be an anonymous dumper would be...
Absolutely. Yeah. So I will say this, like, there's the neighborhood Facebook page is always complaining
avoided.
about, yes,
Yeah.
but is always complaining about, like, someone's like, I saw someone put their, bag of, animal droppings in my trash can.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah,
right.
get it out of your hand.
Yeah, it's not like you're wheeling that thing to the dining room table
That's
after disposal.
That's right. I didn't throw it at your house. I could have.
That's right.
Yeah, we had a guy yell at us whenever we go for a walk. The boys want to play football.
Yeah, sure.
And so we play a game where I'm all-time quarterback, they're the wide receivers, and every driveway is an end zone.
Yeah.
And so we'll finish this game. It'll be 126 to 120,
Sure.
120. And for the first time in us playing this game for 6+ years, I had a guy yell at us for being in his grass.
In his grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man. So he yelled at us. He yelled at the kids, and I was just like,
Good Lord.
You don't talk to my kids. Like, that almost got.
I believe it.
And so now I take all of my trash to his house.
Yeah,
and I just put it in the driveway.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we will chat with Megan Casiere from Workspring. It's Wellness Wednesday, presented by Workspring on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. It's Wellness Wednesday, presented by our friends at Workspring. We're joined now by the top dog at Workspring, Megan Casiere.
Good morning.
Casiere, we are closing out the season here with you, and you will not be receiving your 5-time jacket, but you're close. You're so close.
I thought I was going to get that in.
So I think, is this
4?
This is 4?
Yeah.
No.
This is 3.
This is 3, but then we had you on last season. You were
Yes.
on the end of season 2.
Yes, that's
so
right.
this is 4-time all-time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is that's the pinnacle.
Is
Nobody
it?
has made it to 5.
Because they usually kill themselves.
Speaking of wellness,
Yeah, so
Let's talk about
it's a
that.
dark path. Yeah.
Okay.
so first of all, thank you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank you.
The last 6 months has been a real joy for me. I think for us.
Yep.
To be able to tell stories and highlight topics across Northwest Ohio that matter. And that's made in part, as you hear on every single program, this is made in part by viewers like you. And in this case, it very much is. So thank you.
Oh God, we are really thrilled that you asked us to be part of it, and it's been a great opportunity to talk about Workspring, but also about what we do and our members and the different things that they're doing in the wellness space. So it's been a lot of fun. I can't believe it's been 6 months. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
All right, so let's come back to wellness for a
Yeah.
second. But like, wellness is not the only thing that Workspring does. In fact, I think it's a piece of what Workspring does that maybe people don't know about if they're familiar with Workspring, formerly the Employers Association. What other than, we'll put wellness on a shelf here for a second, what else do you guys do?
Well, we do fractional human resource work for our members. And what that means is we work with members of all shapes and sizes, all different industries, but many of them don't have an HR representative on their team because they're small or mid-sized companies. And so human resources or their people, their CEOs working with them, or maybe it's a payroll clerk, somebody who doesn't have that HR background. So we'll come in and act in that role for companies. And the other thing we do is employee training. What I think is really unique, though, about Workspring's training is that we'll come to an employer's location and we'll do training on site, which is a great benefit because it's very hard to send your team somewhere else to get training. Sometimes that's a good thing to get folks off site for a different perspective. But oftentimes it's just a matter of convenience for the employer and the employees to come into work and we'll do some training for them. So those are the 3 things that we do. We do wellness, HR, and employee training.
What are, in the HR space, what's a common call that you guys are getting from members saying like,
help me.
Help,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I gotta fire this person right now. What do I do?
Yeah, hopefully, what we like, a lot of times it's usually the end of an employment relationship is how they come into us, which is typical, sad, but typical. And so we'll work through those things, and oftentimes it's much easier, though, if you have a plan in place before you get there, because terminations are difficult no matter what.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most difficult things for an employer who's very busy is to do the proper documentation, have the conversations along the way, so that your employer or your employee is not, taken aback. And it's hard when it comes to an end like that. So from Workspring's perspective, what we like to do is we get in with employers and we take a look at what their policies and procedures are, and we can make some recommendations on how to do things better. And certainly that talks about, having a good onboarding and orientation process, making sure that you have training throughout the year, making sure that you're having conversations throughout the year about performance, so that you're not waiting to the end of the year to talk about performance that might be lagging. It's very expensive to bring on a new employee. It takes a lot of time, and but because employers, I think, are very busy, we are. It's you get your new employee, you just want them to get out there and get working.
Going, right?
But you got to also put in the work so that they know what they're doing. They're part of the team, and the money that you've invested and the time you've invested to get that person there is well spent, so that they continue to work for you.
I guess that is the answer to the question. I was wondering, like, what an audit looks like when you come in from a new client. But I think you just checked all those boxes for me. Out of curiosity, is there like a gold standard or a Bible that is going to, like, who publishes material that you recommend or go to? Almost every industry has either an industry standard or resources that they say you can prescribe to this or subscribe to this, whether one is accurate depending on the agency. Is there a singular resource? I know that Workspring cultivates that and curates that information and puts a human component on it, right? Because that's usually where the errors come in, right? Yeah. If we could just follow the standards given, we wouldn't need anything else. But are there resources that you in particular too, when you wake up, roll out of bed, or God forbid you have a moment to do some forward thinking or some searching, where do you go?
Yeah, so I think what's great is there are a lot of resources out there, and HR professionals use SHRM or HRCI. These are like accrediting bodies.
Yes.
And so they're constantly training themselves to make sure that they're using up-to-date and the most cutting-edge type of activities when working with our members. So there are lots of best practices. For me, I read a lot. I like to read different books, different accounts from different types of leaders. And sometimes it's really just, you have to, there are kind of prescriptive things you need to do. So obviously documentation's important, and making sure that your paperwork's in order. And there are laws and regulations you have to follow. But also it's about attitude and perspective, and how are you as a person? How do you communicate? Are you communicating well? Those types of interpersonal dynamics, that really matters.
Yeah.
Because you could have the best kind of outline as to what to do, but if your style isn't working, it's not going to work.
I have a question for that, and I don't want this certainly to get catty, which you would never, but are there some couple red flags? You mentioned reading books and material. We could probably all share this, but there are a couple sort of, I don't know if they're triggers in the definition I'm familiar with, but when I'm reading something or someone I aspire to be more like, if I hear a couple things, I'm like, oh God. Is there something that registers to you almost automatically, or something that is trite but true?
I think that if you are if you're really rigid, that's going to,
which I am,
which you are, and so what I'm about to say is, and certain industries, you have to have, there are rules and guidelines you have to follow to the T, because you're talking about safety and whatnot, right? But in my industry, in service industry and things like that, if you are kind of, it's my way or the highway, and then you impose that on your team, you're not creating a great culture for you or yourself. The other thing that I've recognized as I've grown through the positions that I've been in, you know, just having that years helps you with perspective.
Sure.
And I mean, some of the things that I was more insistent on when I was younger, I don't sweat it. I really try not to sweat the small stuff. That's the other thing, because there are the big things that are going to come up.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can really get bogged down if you're gonna like look at all these, you know, if you sweat the small stuff.
I remember early in my career, I was negotiating a promotion, and I gave up money to get more vacation time.
Yeah.
And immediately regretted it, because in the role I was in, it was impossible to take vacation.
Yeah.
And it was like, why did I?
Yeah.
I was like, I gave up however much money to get another, week of vacation.
Might as well got in unicorns.
That's right. That's exactly right. But I think but that idea of like, with age comes wisdom, with experience.
If you let it.
Yeah, that's
if you
fair.
let that come true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm also curious. I talked about. I usually in the stay off my grass mentality, admittedly, but strategic plans last 3 to 5 years. The modern workforce, and this could display my ignorance. People are working, are rarely having full careers with a certain agency or one organization. I guess that's a better way to say it. I'm curious, is this a sign of health, or what are people who are in the know, and I would certainly describe you and your team in this way, is that now something that is considered healthier, or it's just the manifestation of our modern culture? Is there something to be said for that, or is that just that fad also seems like kind of a flippant way of describing it, but I'm curious, is that a great way to look at things? When people 3 or 5 years, you should move on to something else, or ideally you should work for the same place forever. I'm sure it's dependent on the people and the culture, but to your point, running an agency, almost indiscriminate of the widget you make, or are supporting the widget making, 10, 20, 30 years is a long run.
It is a long run, yeah, especially even today, although, you've been at the Metro Parks for a really long time. A decade,
yeah. It feels longer to them.
I was in public service for well over a decade, a couple decades, and I think if you work someplace that you really love, you're going to want to stay there.
Yeah.
And you're not necessarily looking for the next thing, and you might also be in an industry that you love, but you don't have. There's no growth potential there for whatever your role is. And so one thing that I think can be a little scary for folks who might like where they are is taking the jump away from that place so that they can do something to continue to build their strengths, to continue to grow as individuals, that sometimes you have to kind of leave the nest.
Yes.
And that's important.
That's well said.
And it's okay to do that. And you'll find your spot.
Yeah.
And, because we spend our time working. I mean,
yes.
And so you should do something that you want to do. Not everybody gets that opportunity.
Right.
It isn't all unicorns and roses all the time for everybody, but hopefully.
Just my birthday parties.
Just your birthday parties, which are fabulous.
Thank you.
I've always said the likelihood that a position and a person grow at the same rate over time. And so, I mean, the reality is every year there is going to be a divide in that. And I think it's the manager's job to connect that, right? So it's, if the position is outpacing the person, maybe training can be the solution there. If the person is outpacing the position, then you either need to move them to a different position or you've got to figure out how you grow their responsibility to keep up with them. But I've always been pro turnover. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because I'm largely unemployable, and so it's like people like Kevin, get away from me, and I'm like, I'm going to celebrate that because it's coming anyway. Right. But the reality is, like, for me, change is a good thing. I've always viewed change as a good thing, and so an opportunity for me to look back at where am I right now.
You mean growth is a good thing, not change?
I think that's right. Yeah.
I
appreciate that.
That's an important distinction.
I always describe it as change, right? Sure. But I think the reality is, yes.
Yeah.
I mean growth.
Sure.
And so this idea of like every 3-4 years, it's like, all right, well, what do I want? And if it's here, great. If it's not, fine.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody loves change. I mean, change can be
Get out of town.
extremely hard, and we see this a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in the HR world, which I am not an HR professional, but I see it every day, and I understand that it's hard, but change is constant.
Yes.
One thing that I think is an important factor to keep in mind, just as individuals, no matter how much you love your job or how much you dislike change, you have to continue to evolve in your skills. You've got to continue to learn, because eventually there's going to be a moment, and it's going to be a very real moment, where something is going to happen and you're going to have to adapt to that.
Yeah.
And if you choose not to adapt to it, well, then there's going to probably be one of two things that are going to happen. And, try to be as much in control of what that outcome is going to be, or be able to be in control of your own person in that sense. But I would say, always make sure, and you don't have to wait for your employer to do the training, because that might not always happen. So there are things that you can do to learn on your own. And there isn't a handbook per se for every single thing, but I think, like for me, I try to stitch stuff together to figure it out.
None of us have had a job, none of us here on the show today have had a job that they punched out at. None of us. And the upside of that is we genuinely care about what we're doing. And I can say that about certainly true of the two of you. The downside of that is that there's this intermixing with who we are and what we are professionally. So you have an off year at home, or a rough 6 months, and it's wedded with your performance. And I'm not suggesting that isn't true necessarily if you're making a widget, and that's not to diminish widget making, but they're coupled. And separating the two, I used to think about it, or try to associate with, baseball. People just have off years, right? For whatever reason. Athletically, they might be injured, but they just don't have it. And that's a year. It is really interesting conceptually to think of this too shall pass, right? So when stuff's really tough, this is going to pass. The difficult thing to remind yourself is that's true and it's great also. So that's celebrating the moment, and certainly, but I am curious as to the audit of self professionally and personally, and sort of the boundary between the two, because if someone isn't performing, or at least not up to the way you think or have known them to do, and you think it's at home, there's only so much that you want to lean into that space, right? Because you can't have that, you have to have a culture of caring, but realize, because at the end of the day, it is somewhat performance-based, if not really performance-based. And this is not meant to be a personal question, but you're such a warm and welcoming, and this is why you're great at this job, but also practical. How are these two things put together and solve a century worth of challenges? You've got about 30 seconds, so fire away.
I think all you can do is, as an employer, I try to make sure that we have a workplace that is as flexible as possible, that folks feel comfortable. They don't have to worry about on Sunday night, I've got to get in there on Monday. And for me, I recognize that life happens. And it's more important if something's going on, that if I don't have to have that added pressure of a certain work thing, if I can release some pressure from that employee in that moment, I'm going to try to do that. Not everybody can do that.
Right.
But I guess it's just having that tempo on what's happening in the office. Because when something is not right.
Of course.
You can feel it, but there are lines that you have to respect. So what we try to do is just make ourselves as flexible as possible, and we provide time off. And also, there are resources out there too. We make sure that folks know about it.
We're talking with Megan Casiere from Workspring here on a Wellness Wednesday presented by Workspring. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation and learn about the future of Workspring. It's the 419, powered by WGTE.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love PBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a T-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the Old West End. Pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story. It's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
The 419 at 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, and 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects. It's the 419 powered by WGTE.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419 powered by WGTE. It's Wellness Wednesday presented by our friends at Workspring. We're talking with Megan Casiere from Workspring.
Can I, and this is going to put you on this, okay?
Yes, you can.
This is going to put you on the spot. I am adamantly against a workplace potluck. What I don't want your crock pot in my working environment. I'm talking about your leadership. Just eradicating this conceptually. Oh, Carol's retiring, or Jeff's leaving. Let's everybody bring in a dish. Like, I even hate that saying.
A dish?
Yeah.
Do you guys potluck at Workspring?
We do not.
Yeah, of course you don't.
We don't do
You're
potluck.
on the cutting edge.
We don't do it.
Yeah.
We do food. We bring food
yes, you
in.
Do. Yeah.
You know, and we have, Toledo has a wonderful array of wonderful, restaurants that we like to showcase.
That's right. That's right.
That's
People
what we
who
do.
are in the business of making food for others.
You don't want to showcase, Carol's
rusted crock pot and her mystery meat, and I just don't I hate that. So
what is your worst? What's the worst crock pot or potluck dish in
Glad
your
you
opinion?
asked. Sloppy Joe. I don't like sweet food has a place. It's at the end. It's called dessert. It's its own thing.
Sloppy Joes.
Oh, Christ.
You don't like them at all?
I don't like them at all.
Fran Anderson Sloppy Joes.
Yeah.
Are they delicious?
Yeah, my Dalmatian is Saint. Yeah.
So good. All right, that's fair.
One really sweet person.
No,
I'm sure hers are great.
Yeah.
But it's garbage.
We did, so.
It's always after you've had real food. It's like if you've had meat on Wednesday, Sloppy Joes are coming down the river.
That's true.
It's
Thursday,
awful.
Friday.
Anything that you make again with ketchup is to be avoided.
Okay, that's fair. We did a chili cook-off at Lourdes, and
how'd that go for him?
Let me tell you what. Well, that's too soon.
Okay.
I was like, all right, well, it's like, let's taste all of these different chilies. And I was so glad I wasn't a judge because nobody was watching me try them. Some of them were very bad. Some of them were very good.
What makes it bad to you?
It tasted terrible.
Oh,
that's what made it bad.
Yeah.
No, it was runny.
Yeah. Okay.
And like the spices just didn't seem to go together.
Okay.
There was one that like, I don't mind, like, I'm a barbecue guy. I don't mind, like, the smoky flavor.
Sure.
But I felt like I was, like, drinking a cigarette. Like, it was just so smoky.
Yeah.
Not in a good way.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Not in a good way of drinking a cigarette.
Yeah, thank you. That's right. But it's, and then it progressively, as the week went on, the chili cook-off got worse for me because I ate 16 different styles of chili all in one lunch.
Yeah, sure. That's a rough go.
No. Yeah.
That also, I think it's difficult to engineer community, right? So you have, you should do some of these things. I feel like sometimes you feel obligated to do them, but forcing it is worse.
Yeah.
You use the word during the break, and I think I hear it all the time with workplaces. It's like, oh, we're a work family.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to feel about that, right? Like I genuinely enjoy the people that, almost everywhere I've worked, I've really enjoyed the people I work with. But I'm not one to say like, because we're coworkers, we're friends, right?
That's
or
right.
because we're coworkers, we're now brothers. No, we aren't. We're coworkers, and we get along well. We work well together.
That's right.
But we are not family. And because if it came between deciding between my workplace and my actual family, for me, there's no debate. But how do you balance that?
I just work every time.
That's right. And you have.
That's right.
But how do you balance that? Of like, I want closeness, I want collaboration, I want people to care about each other. beyond like
the 9 to 5.
Well, I mean, and let's acknowledge also that sometimes you do have really wonderful friendships that come out of work.
One of my best friends I met at work.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you'll find those relationships. It might not be your whole team. But I think that, like in a family, there are going to be dynamics, and there's going to be some things that, you don't want all your family members around all the time or whatever.
Who's the family member you around least?
Oh, gosh.
No, just kidding.
That's a valid point. If I had to spend 40 hours a week with my family, I probably would also. I'd probably also be saying, it's not a real family.
That's right.
This is my family.
If you're around all the time, you wouldn't have to have the reunion.
That's fair.
Right.
But I do think that it's important, that everybody, you should be treated with respect in the workplace.
That's right.
And that, you are going there to do a job and you're going to get paid for that job. And so I do think there's a compact that exists between the employer and the employee, and there are certain expectations on both sides that should be recognized. And employees who are working, they should be paid well and get benefits, and to the greatest extent possible.
Right.
I think that's incredibly. I mean, that's just a basic thing, and I have always viewed that relationship as a compact, and it's very important. And it requires respect, and it requires communication and understanding as well. Employers have an obligation, I think, to make sure that their teams are well trained and well cared for. And then in return, they will get that day's work.
I think that your mom and your dad, and certainly others, can love you unconditionally. There's a conditional transactional part of work. There just is that way, right? And you want to cater to performers to make them perform. That is somewhat cheating or falsifying to some degree, and it doesn't make it disingenuous. That idea of care. Yeah, I care about you. The connection is made because you're executing on what our contract or compact is, right? Yeah. That's a giant difference when cut to just down to the thread of it, right? And I think that your parents or your family love you unconditionally. There is a condition to the workplace, and it's very difficult. And and this is broadened over humanity. People talk about how we've gotten soft culturally, right? We talk about this absurd concept of the greatest generation, and that doesn't diminish defeating the Nazis by any means, right? Of course, but to say there's a greatest generation would then blanketly say that the other generations are somehow less, right? Or soft because we're talking about feelings. But there is some truth to that as well. It isn't this like blanket thing.
Well, we're not robots, right? We're human beings. You're dealing with people, and all of it's very hard. It can be very emotional, and there's a lot of different challenges that go along with it. And it can be really a great thing. It can be very, very hard. And as an employer, you have to make sure that you are recognizing that and taking care of your team. I do think there's something to be said for taking care of your team. That doesn't mean that you're treating them like family per se, but you've got to treat people well.
Right.
And I think it's important when you say take care of your team. I think naturally I'll go to money, but the reality is people don't leave jobs. Most of the time, they're not leaving because of money.
A lot of times your supervisor has direct relation as to if you're going to stay or not. And that's one of the things that we do at Workspring is we do supervisor training, because oftentimes supervisors get promoted and then they're expected to be a supervisor without any kind of explanation as to what that means.
Yeah.
And all of those new dynamics that come into play, where they might have been plucked from the line, and now they're supervising their friends.
That's right.
And they're real friends. They go out, they hang out, their families are getting together on the weekends and whatnot. And now you're a supervisor, you're going to tell them what to do, and you're going to affect potentially their livelihood. Because if they don't fulfill their end of the bargain, you as a supervisor have an obligation to correct that. That creates all sorts of things. So we offer a whole series of trainings for new supervisors and folks who have been in the job for a little while, because you need refreshers too. You can, you can kind of get worn down as a supervisor too. Your tolerance can get worn down.
100%.
And so we try to teach good communication and how do you deal with conflict and and all of those types of things that'll help you succeed in that role as a supervisor, but also help your teams.
That's the fascinating thing to me about change. Going back a little bit to our first segment, is that you can get worn down or complacent, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you're still making the same thing, or there hasn't been enough change, to your point, or enough growth. So maybe the thing is, no matter how healthy a career path is, every 9 years, every 10 years, every 5 years, you should go someplace else, because it somehow then forces you to sort of re-up. Yeah. You're pushed into, and that's, I know I'm taking a very broad stroke from the financial portion of it, right? Having to support a family or loved ones, or having a different life change. But boy, every 5 years, it was a very difficult transition for me, because my early career, I was transferred with some regularity to usually a different state. And I had to sort of re-up there. It made me relearn the group. It was a large group of people to manage. The concept that I was managing was different. When that was removed and the day-to-day was like mine, it was a very difficult. After year 3, I was like, what is going on here? Yeah. And I realized that it was because I wasn't made to grow or change. I had to do it on my own. And I don't know that I've totally made an about face from that. That has been a process for me to at least acknowledge, and that took years. Like, why does it feel so stagnant? Yeah. And a bored me, and this isn't because I'm so smart, that certainly isn't the case, but a bored me is a complacent me, and then I get between my ears, then that's tough.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're talking with Megan Casiere from Workspring here on a Wellness Wednesday presented by Workspring. What's next for Workspring?
Well, we are really going to double down on our fractional HR in the next year or so, and that is because I think that it's a necessary and needed component for companies. It's very much like risk management, but what we find is companies who are small to mid-size, they don't have, as I was saying, they don't have an HR professional on staff, and they may think, I don't have $50,000 or $60,000 to pay somebody to do this full time because I don't need somebody full time. Well, what happens when you end up in a spot and you've got to get rid of somebody and you haven't done those things? Now you're looking at even more expense.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, yeah.
So what we're talking about doing is creating kind of blocks of time where you can essentially, we'll come in and do 5-10 hours a month for a company and just kind of keep them on the steady, on a good and narrow path, so that we can prevent those types of things from cropping up. So I think that's an important thing we're going to be doing.
Yeah, because by the time you need them, it's too late.
You're already going to be, you're in a bit of a jam when that kind of happens.
And so having somebody come in and it's not any different than physical, it's the physical wellness, the workplace wellness is all the same, right? By the time
it's all terrible.
By the time you're laying on a table in front of a surgeon, it would have been really nice to have a primary care physician about 6 years ago.
I think the best thing that you can do is to make sure you have a very strong onboarding and orientation program. Like, that's a great first step. And then make sure that you've got a very good performance management cadence, especially in those first 90 days with your new employee, 30, 60, 90-day check-ins. Those are moments in the employee life cycle, if you will, where you're going to know if that employee is going to work out. As I said, you've already invested all this time and money to get this position in. You had a vacancy. You need somebody in this role. So let's do the things that are necessary to keep them doing well, and that your company's going to do well. And from there, we talk about what types of career progressions are there. And there's just all of these moments, beginning, middle, and end. Those 3 components Workspring helps employers with. So I think we're going to spend some time talking to our members about fractional HR help and why that can make a difference for them.
People want more information on Workspring. Where can they find it?
Workspring.org.
Awesome. Megan, thank you on behalf of all of us at WGTE. Thank you for supporting public. Thank you for supporting local. For us, I think it's made a difference, and we hope you guys are seeing that as well. We're excited for season 2 as we continue to grow this partnership and look to the next evolution of this.
Well, we appreciate you. We have absolutely loved supporting the podcast, and it's amazing. I'm really proud of you, and it's a lot of hard work for you to do this every single day. but you're getting
I mail
great
it in
messages.
a lot.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that,
We can all see it.
but we're looking forward to season 2.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
It's been an honor.
Megan, thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Dorian Hooker is going to come talk to us about the African American Wellness Walk. It's the 419, powered by WGTE.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
Workspring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. Workspring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. It's Wellness Wednesday, presented by our friends at Workspring. We're joined now by Dorian Hooker. Dorian, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys.
You've got a couple of events that are coming up. I see you've got some door hangers there for Black Men's Wellness Day. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what is this and why is it important?
Well,
thank
you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Get one. So this is an initiative that originated in Columbus, Ohio. This is where our parent company is. And we have started to look at numbers with regards to mortality rates with Black men compared to our counterparts. And, we have about a 9-year sooner mortality than others. And so that is, becoming alarming, or has been, but now we are wanting to shine a light on that and make sure that we are helping men get health screens, address their health and wellness on a regular basis. And so sometimes that looks different for men. As men, you guys know, and it doesn't matter what color, we're going to be a little bit hesitant, or we kind of shrug off some things that ultimately could end up being a big deal if we're not careful.
Yeah. Is that what you think? Is that what the data shows makes up that 9-year gap? Is some of that stigma of not taking care of yourself?
Well, that could be a loaded question there. There is definitely parts of that make that a thing, but there are just they're cultural things. Sure. that men of color, people of color may experience that. From a cultural perspective of food, from different things that affect us. So I wouldn't want to put one set thing, but that is a thing, is not being up to date on knowing your numbers. And that is a big phrase we use, is knowing your numbers.
Sure. Out of curiosity, from a male's perspective, we are terrible at this.
Oh my God, yes.
I don't know if that's because either we're stubborn or there's a mentality that we just kind of lower our head and work and then die. You know what I mean? It is. You mentioned, Dorian, that it isn't necessarily defined by race, and I certainly agree. But it is identified by gender. There is a gap between taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
It is a weird stigma. I'm curious, how did you get started in this? Like your origin story. I hate to ask something that sounds so trite, but what? You have gray in your beard, as do I. So we're primarily, I've been thinking around the same age, although you're aging much better than me. But why has this become a bit of a vocation or a calling? Those are my words, but they seem to be appropriate.
Well, my journey started from as early as, being 13 years old when I started competing in track and field. And so that's kind of been, if you will, my claim to fame is track and field and competing at a high level and being inducted into the University of Toledo's Hall of Fame. Wow. For track and field. And when that happened, I was at the time working at the YMCA, and that was when it was the Summit Y downtown.
Sure.
And I was an executive director there, and the Toledo, Greater Toledo YMCA, they really promoted that achievement of mine, and it was quite an honor. But then it started letting me see that I probably had a voice that could make an impact.
Okay.
And at that point, I began starting a training and a performance training program called Pro Day Performance Training, and helping and elevating youth and teens in the area of track and field and speed and agility and things like that. And so that program just kind of blossomed, and it was just in my wheelhouse, and it was just a comfort. I mean, it was something like what you guys do here, where you do it comes natural for you. And so because I was always in that space, I started helping young athletes and building young champions and things like that. And as these grays became more pronounced, then I started having more of a pull for, okay, I'm getting older, and I know that there's some things that I can offer to men of my age and older to make sure that we are staying on top of our health. And so I got linked with this program a few years ago, and it was perfect. I had just turned 50 years old, and it was just an enormous amount of responsibility I felt.
Not dissimilar to the conversation we had with Megan about, the need for, an HR professional in the workplace, right? Like by the time you need them, it's too late.
Yeah.
As I found, when I was younger, when I was in college and it was like, oh, I'm going to go run, I could get right back into it with no hesitation. As I get older, that is significantly
That snap
harder.
is a joint.
Yeah, that's right. My hand is going to be sore for a week now because I did that.
Yeah.
But like as we age, this becomes harder and harder. And so I think about the work that you're doing, training athletes. Certainly, as you talk about youth and high school and college athletes, there's a difference there. But as you look, the two of us, Matt is in significantly better physical health than I am. But what are the things that you're seeing that you go, this needs to be a core piece of everybody's foundation?
Well, this has to be a core piece of everybody's foundation, because what you just said about him, referencing to him being probably in significantly better health. Well, I'm going to push back on that only because looks can be deceiving.
That's right.
And one of the things we always talk about in this agency is knowing your numbers. And we can look absolutely fine, and our A1C could be off. Our glucose levels could be off. Our sodium, different things like that could be off. And now we are looking the part, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we are absolutely healthy. And so getting down to the root and understanding those things, all of us as men should have a good understanding of some of our numbers, and knowing when we go to a random health screening and somebody says what some numbers are, we should kind of get an idea of, this is what my physician's been telling me, and so, okay, I'm still in the place where I need to be, or yes, I still got some work to do. And so knowing our numbers are crucial.
I think that answers the question I was going to ask you, but just in case it doesn't, not everyone is the caliber of athlete you are, but
I
like that, Dorian.
We get it.
But
step one, indiscriminate of your age, health, race, gender, step one for everyone is what?
Step one for everyone is, I believe, a discipline of self-awareness.
Sure, absolutely.
Sometimes we don't want to know. Well, we don't want to know stuff. I mean, this is a thing with men, and I still struggle with it.
Sure.
Like actually wanting to go and say, where am I at? That is scary. It's scary because, we've seen, people who leave us probably way too soon.
Right.
And so, I feel like in our society, in this culture, there is a bracing every time you mention the doctor when it comes to men. And so if I had to go to a foundational part of that, it comes from all of the pressure and things that we put on ourselves as men, and that is across the board with regards to what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to show up, the things that we're supposed to take on and do it with a smile.
Yeah.
And all while going into a whole nother part of it, there's a lot of mental parts to that that affect us.
Yeah.
And so when we take on all those things and the pressures of life that in society, what society believes men are supposed to be able to handle and just be able to work through, that can start to affect our physical numbers. And so the mental health part are the root things. And if those things and our thinking and things like that aren't addressed, then those physical things come through our body.
I think know your numbers is a perfect way to articulate it. Almost everyone's first step is going to see a primary caretaker and know sort of get your baseline. I think that's a really powerful testament. How we got some activities here. Talk to us, walk us through the event on August 15th is what, and why is it so important?
Well, it's so important because it gives everyone a platform to say it's okay for me to get checked out.
That's right. And
because that's what everybody's doing. So now it doesn't look weird that I'm going because we're all going. And so this is almost like a family affair here.
Sure.
And beyond that, there are also things that are offered for women as far as I think they get some different screenings for different things with them as well.
Sure.
And so we are offering things in some different spaces, even with regards to teenagers and physical examinations and stuff like that.
How many years have you been doing this?
Well, this is my third year.
Yeah.
And to be clear, in previous years, I have been the lead coordinator on this event. I have since taken a step back, and I'm now assisting our new coordinator, and his name is Robert Langford.
Sure.
This is awesome. We're talking with Dorian Hooker with the African American Male Wellness Agency, Pro Day Performance as well. What is your goal? Like, what do you hope? What do you hope happens on August 16th, the day after this event?
I hope on August 16th we have men using a phrase that we use. That was the best. That was the funnest time I had at a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
That's one of the phrases we use as well. Is come on out. It's the funnest time you'll have at a doctor's appointment. And with this event, there's entertainment. There are going to be vendors. There are going to be public officials that speak, and we have a really dynamic honorary chair this year in our superintendent, Dr. Durant.
Sure.
I mean, he's maybe the least well person I've ever met. He's just, we had him on the show. The number of donuts he ate during the commercial break. I mean, he had that man.
I know
that man has not seen a donut.
So funny story. Me and Dr. Durant, we went to the University of Toledo together. He was playing football. I was running track, and after our careers at the University of Toledo, we maintained a relationship, and we worked out together for quite a period of time.
Yeah.
Together, and so we bounced some really good training habits and regimens off of each other, and so he looks the part, and he definitely puts the work in, and so we thought that he would be perfect for this event.
Is there when the lights went out, metaphorically for your career, was it difficult to find out who you were? Meaning you had been an athlete your whole life, certainly a student athlete, but once your athletic career ended, was it difficult for you to sort of find place?
It can be tough because, and make no mistake, I think I did well, but I don't compare to big time athletes on really big stages, and that's where a lot of the mental component comes in, because you've heard people cheering for you for so long, but how do you react when no one's cheering?
That's well said.
And so with that, for me, for other men, finding a place where we feel like we're making a difference is I believe, the key to, us continuing to grow. And that is where, what I do with Pro Day Performance Training comes in, because now I'm imparting some things into young athletes. And even after COVID, there has been a shift for me, and I have gotten into more of the mental wellness space.
Sure.
And I have been doing work more with what I call mental fitness training now with the athletes. And so that's where now I'm bringing some mental components to our training and having you process what you're doing, why you're doing it, and pushing past some barriers and obstacles that ultimately will help you to be stronger mentally, to overcome, you know, just the ups and downs of being an athlete.
That's right.
And then ultimately in our society, when, you know, a lot of the things in athletics are going to teach us how to be resilient in life when we approach jobs and relationships and different things like that are going to be a challenge for us.
We're talking with Dorian Hooker from the African American Male Wellness Agency. Black Men's Wellness Day is coming up August 15th. So mark your calendar, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Scott High School.
That is correct.
Come out, get checked, know your numbers, as they say, get checked out, not checked in. We didn't get a chance to get to Gretchen's Wacky Quiz, so we're going to do it on social media. So check us out, the 419 on all the social media channels to see Dorian Hooker do Gretchen's Wacky Quiz. We'll take a break and we'll come back. We'll wrap up this Wellness Wednesday edition of the 419.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertain, inform, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Welcome back into the 419 powered by WGTE as we wrap up a Wellness Wednesday edition presented by our friends at Workspring. It's always wonderful to have Megan here in studio with us.
Absolutely.
Certainly their contributions to this program over the last 6 months are well appreciated. I think as we talk to Megan, you know, the conversation about wellness is so important, but so multifaceted.
That's right.
You know, we're not expecting, just like the show, every guest to hit a home run with every single listener or every wellness segment to be like, that's the thing I needed. But hopefully there was something.
That's right.
Over the last 6 months. And of course, appreciate Dorian Hooker being with us as well. August 15th, Black Men's Wellness Day out at Scott High School. Get out there, get checked out, not checked in, 7 a.m. to noon. If you missed any part of the show, 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, or 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects channel 30.4. It's the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you.